Turtle Power! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am D-WIZZLE, and this is another edition of my life. And today, you know what? I'll probably dub it Turtles Thursday. Let's go with it. Turtles Thursday. It is Turtles Thursday. We are talking about every theatrical release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, leading up to the newest Ninja Turtles movie coming out in August, Mutant Mayhem. We have already talked about the original live-action film from 1990. So if you guys haven't seen the stream for that, I'll put you can check out my channel. I have a playlist called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I think I'll put in the link in the description below if you guys haven't seen it. But today we are continuing on talking about the original live-action Ninja Turtles movies, talking about the second installment, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. And joining with me today, once again, I have fellow YouTuber Big B.
Hey, how's it going? Glad to be back, and once again, glad to be talking about a favorite of mine in a series that I really like.
I'm so happy for you. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be a very interesting stream talking about this film. But let's not waste any more time. Let us get into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. And as always, we have to remind the viewers out there, this is a spoiler-filled discussion. Be talking about this movie as if you've already seen it. Though this movie came out in 1991, so it's like 30 years old now. So if you haven't seen this film, you can find it somewhere. You can rent it on YouTube. You can find it on Amazon. It's not on Paramount Plus, as I said in the previous stream. I don't know why they don't have it, but it's somewhere out there. If you haven't seen it and you don't want to know anything about it, go watch it and come back to you and listen to this. But you have been warned. Okay, I think streaming over spazzing out a little too much. All right. So, when we talked about the original live-action film from 1990, we enjoyed the first one quite a bit. I definitely think it's one of my favorite versions of Ninja Turtles out there. I thought it had a perfect blend of the stuff that people like from the Saturday morning cartoon and some of the influences from the comic. I thought it was a good blend of that. While it was leaning a little more towards the darker elements of the comics, which is something I personally really liked, But yeah, and I thought the puppetry for the turtles were really good. I thought Shredder was really cool. April O'Neil was great. Casey Jones, all around that movie was very very solid. Really enjoyed it. So read, reading all the behind the scenes stuff about the making of these movies, there was a lot of eye openers when it came to the sequel. So, which we kind of lightly touched on in the previous stream. So the first one was a big success. Um, it made a lot of money well, nowadays it wouldn't be considered a lot of money because of how much movies are made and how much movies are making at the box office recently.
Yeah, it was a lot for back then.
Right, because like the budget of the movie I think it was like around $10 million or something like that. 10 or $20 million, not higher than that. It was like I think they considered that to be the biggest indie film of that time too.
Yeah, 13 million.
13 million, yeah, they considered it the most successful indie film ever made, because the first movie wasn't tied to a big studio or anything like that. So it was very very cool. But anyway, made a lot of money at the box office. It was a big hit. However, there was a really really big asterisk with that first movie because of the more adult themes and adult nature of the first movie. There's some dark stuff in there. It didn't go very well with the kids and the parents. Um, Apparently, there was a lot of uproar with the first movie, being that there was a lot of cursing and there was smoking and there was like excessive violence. And they thought it was bad that because the Ninja Turtles were still being marketed towards kids. So that's when I think that's when around that time when New Line Cinema owned the film rights to Ninja Turtles at the time, I think.
Yeah.
So they were pretty much doing a complete course correction with the franchise. So they weren't going to be really dark like the first movie. They were trying to market it more towards the kids. They're going to have more influences from the cartoon. So which I was personally disappointed about. I was disappointed with. Let me use proper English. But I understand from a marketing standpoint. I understand why they have the course correct. Because it is giving mixed signals that this is still a property that's selling a lot of toys and a lot of kids are gravitate towards Ninja Turtles. So it's like you do need to make a property that is at the very least family friendly. Like it
Right.
at least I like there like even though I enjoyed the first movie, even I will admit that there was some stuff in that film that I feel like wasn't exactly appropriate, like the kids smoking and the Ninja Turtles just cursing out of nowhere. So okay, yeah, I understand that. Pull that back a little bit. But as far as the violence, I didn't think it was that violent. The first movie, it wasn't anything that was too far. But this really the only stuff I can see like people were being upset about. Like I didn't think they need to completely turn it to a cartoon. Just pull back on the language and no smoking. Like that's all they needed to do really. But they were like, no, we're gonna make it more colorful and more cartoony. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, it was even an overhaul of the Ninja Turtles costume designs, which is one of the things that, I don't like about this film is that they made such a dramatic change to everybody in terms of the Turtles.
Yes, which we will definitely get into in a minute. But not only that, one thing I also didn't even realize was that this movie came out less than a year after the first movie.
Yes.
So this is the textbook definition of them rushing a sequel. Like this is uncalled for. Like I don't think there's any like movie today that had a sequel out within a year.
It's definitely a red flag if any company does that.
Yeah, I'm just like, how is this possible? Like, how did they? I don't understand. I don't understand it.
Movies were just different back then, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, also keep in mind that these movies are made for dirt cheap, so I guess they don't have to use as much resources to get it done. But like, like least take a couple years off, at least a couple years off. But like, yeah, so that was another red flag. Um, and I don't know. This all this stuff that I'm talking about now. This is stuff I didn't care about as a kid because I said that I had like the 3-disc DVD collector set of the original 3 movies, and
Mm-hmm.
of those 3 movies, surprisingly enough, Secretly Ooze is the movie that I watched the most out of all 3 of them. Like that, even though I did really enjoy the first one is personally my favorite of the 3. Somehow, Secretly Ooze was the one I watched the most when I was a kid. Like that was on constant repeat, along with the Phantom Menace at the time. That was the movie I had on constant repeat. I think there was something else that I had on constant repeat that like I had off the top of my head. But anyway, that was one of those films. Oh, The Lion King. Yeah, The Lion King.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a movie that I had. Those were like the main 3 that I had on repeat a lot. At the time, I even thought that Secret of the Ooze was my favorite because like it was the most fun. Shredder looked really cool. You had Toka and Rezar. Like it seemed like the stakes were higher. The colors popped. It was funnier. So at the time, for a while, I was with you that Secret of the Ooze was my favorite. However, throughout the years, getting the other versions of the Turtles throughout the years, and now revisiting this for this review, because it's been a while since I watched this film. Like, I think it was a good at least 5 years since I last watched this film. So, so watching it with a fresh set of eyes, I guess, after so long, now processing stuff as an adult, now that I'm a critic, man, my opinion has changed quite a bit. I'm gonna break Biggie's heart a little bit. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead, I can take it.
But yeah, overall, and I'm probably gonna break some hearts for a lot of people because I think for a lot of Ninja Turtles fans, like I think some people consider this to be their favorite as well, or at least there's a lot of nostalgia, with this film because like I think out of all 3 movies, I think this is the one that's talked about the most, for better or for worse. So I'm sorry for all the people that hold this movie to a special place in their heart, and I understand. Overall, it's a fun movie. It's very light. It's very playful. There's nothing in here that's offensive or stuff like that. So as a movie by itself, there's nothing really bad about it. I don't think this movie is bad. But for me personally, I'm not a big fan of this movie. I don't like it personally. I think this is like the amalgamation of stuff that I don't want to see in a Ninja Turtles movie was in this film. I said in the previous movie that that I already established I'm not a big fan of the 80s cartoon. And I don't like all the silly, goofy stuff that they did with the Turtles, like the cowabunga dude and yeah, man, and the pizza eating and all that stuff. I said I was never really a big fan of that. I understand its place in Ninja Turtles history, and there's certain aspects of the cartoon and stuff like that that I do enjoy. But this is just too much of that goofy, silly stuff from the cartoon, and I feel like this is even sillier than the cartoon. I'm just like, this is such a complete 180 from the original movie. I don't know. It's just like, there's nothing wrong with having humor in this. I have no problem with Ninja Turtles having humor. It's okay for the Ninja Turtles to have comedy because some of the best banter from the Turtles themselves, is when they're funny. They have their witty banter, they have their personalities, and it's like, so that's what makes them distinct from each other. So like, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any humor in a Ninja Turtles movie, but this was just too much. So much so that I barely felt any stakes with this film. Like there was rarely a time where I felt like a situation was serious or I felt like the Ninja Turtles were in danger, because 90% of the movie is just humor, comedy, Lily winking at the camera. There was at least 5 times in this movie where the Ninja Turtles felt like they were just winking at the camera, being like, ha ha, you see what we did? We're funny. Here's the joke. Here's the punchline. Ha ha ha. I'm like, oh my God. I was just rolling my eyes so many times. And then on top of that, this movie came out a year after the first movie, and the practical effects of the turtles are worse than the first movie. Like, that blows my mind. As far as the puppetry and the animatronics of the turtles, it's not as good as the first film, and that really blew my mind. Because like everything else looks so polished and colorful. That was another issue I had. Like, this movie felt too. I mean, while it's a good looking movie, I feel like it looks too clean. I like the griminess of the first movie. I like the dirtiness that we got from New York. Like, all the griminess is completely gone from this movie. But yeah, it's just like, while everything looks so polished and clean, the animatronics of the Ninja Turtles, I don't understand what went wrong here. Like, I don't know. I guess another thing when I was reading the behind the scenes stuff is that they were trying to cut costs for some reason, because I don't understand, because the first movie made a lot of money for its budget. So I don't understand why they're cutting corners. But like, there's some things about, getting rights issues with the cartoon and the comics. So there's certain like characters and certain like names from the comic or the cartoon that they didn't want to use. And then there was also some disputes with certain actors that wanted a certain amount of money, which we'll talk about later. But like, it just blows my mind that the first movie made so much money successful. You would think they would put a little bit more money into the second film, but once again, this goes back to this being a rush production, and it's like, Lily came out less than a year after the first movie, so you already saw that there were troubles. But like, yeah, I'm just shocked that the effects of the turtles look weaker than the first film. Not saying that it looks horrible. It doesn't look horrible. We'll get to that in the next film. But like,
Yeah.
but like, it's just, you could just tell something felt cheap, a little bit cheaper this time around. Lily, the best thing about this movie to me was the Shredder, and he's the biggest plot hole of this entire movie. The Shredder should not be in this film, but he ends up being my favorite part of the film. And they recast April O'Neil, and that kind of upset me too.
Yeah, and like I said in the last video, that's not something I even noticed until it was pointed out, which now that I'm conscious of that, I'm like, oh.
And then where's Casey Jones? Okay. All right. But we'll get into that when we get in depth with this review. But that's my overall thoughts on Secret of the Ooze. Tell us. I can't wait to get into your thoughts. What are your overall thoughts on Ninja Turtles 2?
Well, yeah, so mainly from a sentimental standpoint that like this is my favorite of the three films. It's something that like I enjoy the first one, don't get me wrong. Like I enjoy it. I recognize that it's a classic. I recognize the impact it had on the series and everything. But I always feel like the second one is just a fun watch. Now there are flaws. Like the Ninja Turtle costumes, which I think kind of factors into the puppetry. They're a lot weaker than the first one. I do agree. The Shredder as well as the Foot, like you can't really take them seriously in this one. Besides that, the music that's used in this one, I think, is better than the first one. I think they did improve on that at least, which is part of what made this a lot more enjoyable to watch. Some of the situations that these characters ended up in, I feel like were a little more enjoyable in the first one. Certain ones, mainly Raph, but certain ones. Besides that, I just liked that they carried over at least some of the dynamics between the characters and between the films, and I think that's also part of like that's also part of why I enjoy it, and how, um, despite some of that stuff carrying over, it's still a nice, just standalone like film. But I do agree. Upon rewatching it now as an adult, there are certain things that that I now see as flaws. Like, yeah, no, like the whole dramatic shift from like the kind of darker tones of the first one to like the more cartoony slapstick comedy of the second one is a little like, but no, I mean, we'll get more into it as we go on. But overall, I just feel like it's a much more fun watch than the first one, which is why this one's my favorite out of the three. It's more of a, you sit down when you're in a good mood and cap off your day with this one, rather than like I feel almost like I have to be in a certain mood to really want to watch the first one, despite how good it is. But
fair. I really get what you're saying with that. Like, yeah, this just feel like, as far as like, it feels like a more enjoyable watch than the first movie all around. Let's look at the comments real quick. We got Anthony Beltre in the comments. What's up, dude? We got Aaron World Order. It's pizza time. Okay, wrong movie.
wrong franchise. Wrong franchise.
Yeah, but I think it applies here. Let me tell you.
It does.
From that opening, like when the opening credits are starting, and you see all the New York citizens eating pizza, like it made me crave pizza so much.
Yeah, and that song lives rent free in my head and plays in my mind every time I get a pizza. The song, it used to be on Spotify. They took it off for some strange reason, but the song is even called NY Pizza. Which...
Perfect, absolutely perfect. I never been to New York, so I never was able to taste a New York style pizza before, but like it looked so delicious, man. All the cheese and like, man, if I ever go to New York, which I'm gonna plan to go to New York in the near future, I'm gonna give me a good big cheese pizza. I'm gonna enjoy that. But yeah, and then we have the George says, I need to rewatch this one. It's been a while since I last saw it. Still love the first one. I watch that one at least once a year. Okay, so he's kind of more on my side, where it's like, yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
Okay. Okay, so where do we begin with this? Yeah, I guess we could start with as we start with the first one, we could start talking about the turtles. So, as far as the turtles, I don't have any problems with their performances. They're just as good. Well, almost as good as they were in the first movie. If it weren't for the shallow writing that they gave to this one, because what I really also appreciated about the first movie is that they actually had some moments that were like very sentimental. Like you actually seeing the brothers bond and like going through some hardships together. With Splinter being gone or whatever, them connecting on a personal level. I didn't feel like there was anything like that in this movie. But still, I thought all four turtles were great. The banter, the chemistry between all four turtles are still really, really good. One thing that I actually did like that they improved from the first movie is specifically with Donatello, because I said in the first movie that I didn't like his smoker voice, and he wasn't able to show off his more like genius side. Like we didn't get to see him do his smart techie stuff. Like so they leaned more into that in this movie, and like the voice actor they got for Donatello fit a lot better than they did in the first movie. So that's something I definitely appreciated with that. But yeah, like not much to say about the other three because they seem to fall pretty much in line as how they were in the first movie. Actually, you know what? Actually, I will say Leonardo, as far as like him being like the leader and stuff like that, it's still here in this film, but I feel like they pulled back a little bit with him in this one.
They made I'll agree, because like out of all the turtles, I think the ones that got to shine the most were Donatello and Raphael. And even then, Raphael, as well as the remaining two, Leo and Mike, they seem to just kind of blend together almost. Like they're all goofballs here, but Donnie, does get his big hero moments in this one.
Mm-hmm. Which I definitely really liked. But yeah, Raph and Mike do feel pretty much the same as they were in the first movie. Not too much to like expand with those two. and then Master Splinter. Okay, so he's actually, I don't know if you feel the same way, but as far as Splinter, he's probably the only like puppet in this movie that looks just as good, if not better, than the first film.
I personally think the first one looked a little bit better. I think that's mainly because, he looked a lot more like a dirty, unkempt rat. Whereas in this one, he looks a little bit more, like a little bit better groomed. His fur has like a little bit more color than the previous film.
Mm-hmm.
Like he seems like a big fluffy thing that you'd want to like go up to and hug, rather than like a rat where you see that walking around the street and go, "Oh God, that's a rat," and then run the other way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely have a point with that. I do still miss like the dirty griminess that Splinter had in the first movie, but like I probably like this one just as much, if not a little bit more, probably because it looks more like Splinter's design in the 2003 show, because he looked a little
Yeah,
more fluffier there. I mean,
yeah.
he was gray in the cartoon and he's brown in this, which is not really a big deal, but like
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, I do like this design. It's just
mhm.
it in terms of which one I prefer for the context of these movies. It's definitely the previous one. But
Yeah, I definitely see that. But yeah, Splinter was great in this. He got a little bit more to do in this one, which I definitely appreciate. Um, Part of me wishes that we got a little bit of a fighting scene with Splinter. I don't know how they would be able to do that though, but like,
yeah, I mean,
I,
if they nowadays, if they were to make something like this, I mean, one, it wouldn't be practical effects, but yeah, you get a Splinter fight scene. But you
yeah,
know,
very similar to what they did in the Michael Bay films.
probably something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and even like the 2003 show, like he was much more active in that too. So that's probably another reason why I
Or
want to see him fight.
yeah,
But
or even the '07 movie.
oh yeah, that too. Yes, yes. So yeah, like I said, it's probably will be different. It'd be difficult for them to like do a full on action scene with because it's not like they could put Splinter in a was was there a guy in a suit, or is that a full on puppet?
I feel like that was a puppet. I mean, I haven't looked at the behind the scenes in God knows how long, but
hmm Yeah, because like he doesn't move like a regular person, so it's like
mhm,
part of me, I think it is like a full on puppet. So it's like if they
mhm.
tried
I
to
got,
do like what?
well, I was gonna say, like, I'm convinced that at least in the first film that was a full on puppet.
Oh yeah,
But
because he
yeah.
wasn't moving at all,
Hmm.
except his like his torso and his head. But but yeah, like, and it would probably be like a Muppet situation if they tried to do like a fight
Hmm.
scene with him.
Oh
But
God, that would look ridiculous. That would look ridiculous.
yeah, but regardless, I think Splinter's great in this. He pretty much felt exactly like how he did in the first movie. Like there's nothing really too much you change with Splinter. Like he seems pretty consistent. Um, okay, so let's address one of the big elephants in the room. Oh wait. Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I thought I was prepared. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I actually had a picture up. I remember saving the picture and I thought I uploaded it. Hold on, it's gonna take me 1 second because I know I had it. I know I had it. There you are, my dear. Let's talk about April O'Neil. Played by
I
Paige Turco.
Yeah, I think I prefer I prefer shoot I
Judith.
prefer Judith. I prefer Judith over this actress, but I think it was a fine recast. I mean, it fooled me for the past like what 20 years, that I've been watching this film. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's fooled me for that long. Like she does a good job carrying on where Judith left off with the turtles in terms of like her chemistry with them and everything. But it is confusing that they wouldn't have just gotten the same actress. Maybe there was like some issues that I'm not aware of, but
Yeah, actually, I will bring that up right
hmm.
now. So the reason why she didn't come back to do this, I think one, she was, I think she had some scheduling conflicts because she was filming the Halloween Town movies at the time. Because I think
Oh, that's right.
yeah, I think those movies came out around the same time as this.
Hmm.
Um, and also, she had an issue with the first. Well, she's going to sound very similar to these parents that were complaining about the first movie. She complained that the violence in the first movie was a bit excessive, and she also was. Yeah, I know, which is strange to see because like the first movie wasn't that violent, guys.
I guess back then it would be very shocking. Like if you had something like Attack on Titan come out back in the '90s, yeah, no, that would be appalling. But yeah, so I guess I get it from the perspective of back then. But looking
She
at
was,
that now, it's ridiculous.
yeah, man, just like, but she was also concerned about the stunt doubles safety because apparently in the making of the first movie, like the stunt people were getting really injured, and like the production company or whatever wasn't like compensating for their for all their injuries or whatever. So she was like, I'm not gonna be in this next one if you're not gonna like make sure that the second movie is safer and not as violent.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that was
typical 20th century Hollywood.
yeah, just don't care about the condition of your actors, even though they're the ones that help you make money. But okay. But it's such a shame we couldn't get Judith back because she is still my favorite live action April O'Neil. Um, now, yeah, as you said, I agree with you. I don't have a problem with Paige Turco's April O'Neil. I thought she was pretty good. But I will say, even watching this as a kid, I was upset that they recasted April like that. I noticed that instantly when she came on screen. I was like, "Wait, you're not April. Who are you?"
That's fair. That's fair. I think it's mainly because of like the hair and the lighting probably fooled me and may have fooled others. I don't know, but that's probably what made me think like, oh yeah, okay, there's been no change here. This is just April.
Yeah. I guess what really like stood out to me, other than the fact that like I noticed like one of the things I like her red hair in the first movie, Judith. Like it was very striking. But like the other reason why I still like Judith more is that while I do like Paige in this movie, I feel like she feels a little bit more bland than
Yeah,
Judith, just a little
yeah,
bit. Like we got to see more of her like the spunky like attitude personality that we got from Judith. Like she was a little bit more charismatic in the first movie. Not to say that Paige was bland, but just she never really got a moment to show off like her spunkiness or like that witty
yeah.
witty nature that we got from Judith. There wasn't really like wasn't really moments that we got from her with this. Like she felt like pretty like safe.
Yeah, no, I agree because you even had like Judith's version of April was a lot more willing to just be out there in the field, like almost ready to fight alongside the turtles. But
Right.
whereas Paige was like, they find out that that Raph's been captured, and they're like, dude, we gotta warn the turtles. We're not gonna go out there and do anything. We gotta have the turtles go do it.
I'm like, no, April would go right along with them. What do you mean? Yeah, she just felt like more of the. This probably will sound like an insult, but I'm just saying this to be funny. She seems more like the homemaker April O'Neil.
Yeah. It's housewife April. Yeah.
Housewife April. I'm like, no. I like me some badass April. Not afraid to get her hands dirty, you know. Because like even with Judith in the first film, like even though like she got her ass kicked in the first movie, she was still defending herself. Like she wasn't afraid to get in a fight.
Yeah, she was still ready to get in there afterwards too. She was like, "All right, round 2, let's go."
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love that about her. But yeah, even though I thought Paige was still a solid successor of Judith for the most part, I wish. Okay, let me pull up this picture again. Maybe I missed something. Like, that doesn't look like red hair. That just looks like brown brunette. That's another thing that kind of upset me too. I'm like, you're not a redhead. Come on now. What is this?
I'm wondering if, because like I said, it fooled me up until like probably my most recent watching. I'm wondering if like maybe it had something to do with watching on like a CRT or something. I don't know, right?
I don't know. RJ, who's like a huge Turtles fan, if you follow him, glad you could be on, man. And then it says Splinter versus Shredder. I would love to see it. Would have
like
loved
a proper fight, yeah.
Proper fight. I mean, Even though I kind of like what they did in the Michael Bay film a little bit, but
Yeah. I mean, I'll say I think the showdown that they have at the end of the first film is very special and probably very appropriate.
yeah.
It's like, it's the wise, calm side of ninjutsu versus like the more rash and vengeful side of it, and you see like how that wisdom prevails and everything, and how he's able to beat him in one move, which is nice. But I do like having a little bit of back and forth between the two big masters of the respective dojos or whatever.
hmm It's kind of like in Star Wars, where it's like, do you prefer Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul in the Clone Wars, where they full on fight each other numerous
Mm-hmm.
times, or do you like the more character-driven, like emotional fight with Ben versus Darth Maul in Rebels, where it's just
Mm-hmm.
two clashes and slice, and then it's done, because he's more experienced, I guess.
Yeah, I think it depends on the setting, because like it's always very monumental when you have those two characters on screen with each other, because that's the head of the Hamato clan and the head of the Oroku clan, fighting each other. So it's
hmm Part of me wishes that like they were able to go into that more, because like we don't really get to
yeah,
know Yoshi as a character, you know.
yeah. That's not something you get until like later series, like Mutant Ninja Turtles or the '03 Ninja Turtles
hmm
show or anything like that, which
Yeah.
it is a little odd. It's also odd that like they don't really talk about that too much in the movies after the first one, at least for this trilogy. It's kind of like, yeah, Hamato Yoshi was a thing. I avenged him. All right, anyways, moving on.
Bye bye. I'm hoping in Mutant Mayhem, or if they continue off of Mutant Mayhem, hopefully they'll. I would like to see them try and like give a little bit more development to Yoshi or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it also depends on what backstory they use for Splinter, because you either got he's a pet rat of Hamato Yoshi, or he is Hamato Yoshi.
Right. Which one do you prefer?
I prefer him actually being Hamato Yoshi. It adds like that much more gravity whenever him and Oroku Saki like fight each other. Whenever that happens, either in the comics or in any of the shows, like in the 2012 Ninja Turtles show, when you see Splinter fighting against Shredder, it's a lot more impactful, because you have these two scarred, almost husks of their former selves still battling it out like decades later. It's cool.
Mhm.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I think I lean more towards him being Splinter being Yoshi as well, because like it also like that dichotomy between Shredder and Splinter, because like in their past lives, Splinter being Splinter being Yoshi, and then Shredder being Oroku Saki, and them having history before, they become their new personas and stuff like that. It just adds
Mm-hmm.
another layer as well. And also it's not as silly as as a rat
Yeah.
mimicking movements from a human.
Hey man, this rat clawed my face, and now he's like 6'2", beating me with a nunchuck. What's going on?
What's going on? This rat has feelings? What?
Why is he talking to me, man? These New York rats are weird. I also like that a lot more when the backstory is that they were in Japan, and then they like somehow made their way to New York, rather than him being like, a pet of Hamato Yoshi, who's like this guy who for some reason is practicing ninjutsu in New York, where everybody carries a gun. So I don't.
Yeah, it's a little inconsistent there, but
Yeah.
I don't think too hard about it. Um, then Anthony's asking, "Are you doing Ninja Turtles 3 next?" Unfortunately, yes, we will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't wait to do that one.
Should have
Man.
stayed as an arcade game. Should have stayed as an arcade game.
Yeah, I heard it was an arcade game. I thought it was gonna be based off of that arcade
No.
game, but
No.
far from it. Far from it. And then Aaron's talking about has Judith read the original comics? Obviously she hasn't.
Right. They didn't introduce her to Eastman's work, which if she did, I wonder if she would have even signed on to the project.
Probably not.
Yeah, she would have been like, they do what?
They do, huh? Like, no, I'm gonna stick with I'm gonna go back
Right,
to Disney. Sorry.
right. One of the turtles gets their face blown off. What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. Bodily horror? No. But anyway, moving on. Okay, let's talk about Casey Jones. Oh wait, he's not in this movie.
This is where we'd put Casey Jones if he was here.
What?
Instead you got
Kino.
Yeah, Kino. Yeah.
Freaking Kino? What? Who?
Like you can tell that he's essentially supposed to be their substitute for Casey, and it does not work. It does not work. I enjoy him as a character, and I think he would have made a good tertiary character if you had April and Casey and Kino, but
But like, no, a full-on replacement. No. Okay, I get it. Like, you don't want. I'm pretty sure they looked at Casey and was like, we don't want him to wear the scary hockey mask and like
Mhm.
hitting people with golf clubs. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, fine, but like to cut him out completely, like. I mean, even though I still wouldn't like this, why don't you just make Casey not as violent as he was in the first movie and have him wear a different mask?
Right.
Or have him not wear the mask at all if that's really an issue for y'all. But
Yeah. I mean, it's also something like once again one of the flaws of the movie. There's something that bothers me about Kino specifically, and I get that it's kind of a product of the times. Like all martial arts movies. All the Asian characters know martial arts, but they don't explain it. They don't explain why. They don't explain why or how Kino has like basic martial arts skills.
no, this is literally how they explain it. He follows some goons robbing a strip mall or whatever, and then the goons go after him, and then he attacks them, and then he's like, "Did I mention that I study martial arts?"
Yeah, like this pizza delivery boy is also a ninjutsu using vigilante. What are you?
Now I can already hear the Gen Zs in the comments being like, "What? You don't think that guys delivering pizza can learn martial arts? Come on, it's 2023.
They can,
Multitask,
but explain
man."
it. They can, but explain it outside of it being like he knows it because he's Asian. Like,
I wasn't gonna say it, but
but you know that's pretty much it. You know that's pretty much it. If it was Casey, it wouldn't be the case.
No
pun intended. But also, side note about that opening scene.
Yeah.
That scene, those burglars always scared me as a kid for some reason because I'd never seen someone with like a stocking over their face before. I didn't like how it like smushed up their faces. I don't know. It always creeped me out as a kid.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, just popped in my brain.
I was kind of laughing at it, to be honest, because like, did these guys really put some like stockings on their faces?
I mean, it's something I laugh at now, but yeah.
Oh, speaking of that opening scene, like that whole opening sequence, I think set the tone for the entire movie because
it definitely did.
Yeah, like because I go back to the first movie where it's like even though I don't think they were being really violent in the first movie, but even still with the first film, like they actually were like, they actually were kicking ass in the first movie. Like they actually were leaving some impact, And it's like in this movie, like I said, the tension is cut completely because every time they hit a goon or whatever, they literally have to stop and do like a comedic pose, being like, "Wicked, pow, yo, man." I'm like, "Pow, eclectic." Like,
I think looking back on that now, like with my most recent watch, the only two gags that I liked from that opening sequence are the Donatello pretending to be a mannequin and the Michelangelo using the sausage nunchucks. Those are the only things out of that whole fight that I was like, okay, that's a little amusing to me.
I mean, yeah, it's amusing for some kids, but like
that's fair. That's I mean,
if there's adults out there that legit thought it's funny, then more power to you. That's fine. I'm very picky when it comes to like humor. I'm very picky when it comes to humor. Like, not everything can like make me laugh out loud. So keep that in mind. I'm like, I'm a dry stoic guy for a lot of the times. But like, when when I saw Donatello disguising himself as the toy that goes back and forth, and the goon Lily falls for it for a second, I'm like, are you stupid? Are you legit dumb? Like, come on now.
I mean, they obviously aren't the smartest tool, the sharpest tools in the shed.
I guess not. And then another thing that upset me is that, since they want to be more family friendly and not as violent, the turtles outside of Donatello can't even use their own weapons.
Well, yeah, they that is something that did bother me, is that a lot of the violence, especially in that opening scene, was a lot of ducking behind like a counter or something like that, and then just like, oh, they pop up every once in a while. Oh, here's the body slam or something like that. Oh, cartoon sound effect or something like that.
Right, or just use some random objects they have around. Okay, so one thing I didn't understand, because you talked about the nunchuck scene with Michelangelo with the hot dogs. Okay, so you're not going to let him use the nunchucks. However, you're going to take some hot dogs that are shaped exactly like nunchucks and have them do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, for that purpose, that's a little weird, especially because like Michelangelo's nunchucks specifically are like wooden. It's not like a metal. It's not like Bruce Lee's like metal nunchucks where they'll hit you in the back of the head and then you're bleeding from your cranium for like the rest of eternity. But
yeah. It's like, okay, I understand if you don't want Leo and Raph slicing people up. Okay, I get that.
Right.
However, Mike should be able to use his nunchucks. If Don is able to use his bow staff, like, I don't understand why they couldn't have him use his nunchucks. I don't understand it. They probably did think of it like a Bruce Lee thing. They probably just watched the Bruce Lee movie and was like, "Oh no, that's too much."
Yeah. They watched like Fist of Fury and saw that dojo scene when Bruce Lee hits some dude over the head and then he starts like spouting blood like a fountain, and we're like, nope, we can't do that.
Can't do that. Yeah, man. But yeah, that was just, as I said, that entire opening sequence pretty much set the tone for the rest of the movie. Like, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna have the turtles spewing out one-liners every other fight scene, and you're not gonna use their weapons, and the goons are gonna act stupid. I'm like, okay, great, that's great. Moving on, let's talk about, as I said, who I think is the best part of this movie is the Shredder. I thought the Shredder was great in this, even though he wasn't given as much to do as he did in the first movie, but he felt just as intimidating as he did in the first film, And I thought they were going to dumb him down a lot, and I'm glad that they did do that. They didn't have him do anything stupid or anything like that. They didn't try to do any, like, slapstick or anything like that.
Yeah, if anything, he is the most serious out of the film, because you just get the sense he's just done with everything the entire film. Like the second that they have the doctor go and like infuse the mutagen, and Toka and Razor sit there like, oh mama, he's like, they're baby. He's just frustrated. He's just done the entire film.
Yeah, just everybody's stupid in this.
Yeah. He's even done with Tatsu, like who's like his right hand man.
Yeah, Tatsu doesn't get to do anything in this. Like,
I feel like funny enough, he got to do more, but you can't take him seriously at all because he just ends up being like the butt of a lot of the jokes.
Yeah, that was just really disappointing to me. But outside of that, I think his overall outfit looks cooler than it did in the first movie. Like the sharp part on his helmet, like he has a lot more sharp stuff on his thing.
Oh yeah, it's a lot more Shredder-y.
Absolutely. And then instead of the pinkish like outfit, like pajamas that he had in the first movie, he has the purple, which is homaging the cartoon, which I thought was pretty cool. And then you see like the scars that he has on his face as well.
Yeah, like they don't, which I kind of wish they would have shown. Which I get it, probably too violent.
Oh no, you can't show it. You can't show his scarred up face.
I know. I wish they would have shown the whole face, because you even have a scene where like for like one line, one of the foot ninjas is like, his face. And it's like, well, what is it? I want to see.
I want to see it too. I'm like, let's see it. Let's see it.
My morbid curiosity is taking over. I want to know.
Exactly.
I want to know what this trash compactor did to this man.
Man, that's a whole other can of worms too, which we'll talk about in a second. The one thing I was disappointed that he didn't have is like he didn't have his hand knives thing.
Yeah, probably would have been too violent.
But his most of his outfit is sharp knives.
I know, but they can't have him punch a turtle with like a bladed hand.
He doesn't punch anybody in this movie.
I know. It's like I'm trying to come up with a reason for them. I don't know.
I mean, no, I get it. I totally get it. Like, I'm saying they gotta pull back for the kids. Okay, that's fine. But just like,
either that or it was to teach the kids, like, hey, don't strap knives to your hands. I wonder if that was like a problem that they had or something. Kids are dumb, man. I don't know.
okay. A little public service announcement to all you parents out there. It is not the filmmaker's job to parent your children. It is your job to tell your kids right from wrong.
Right. Or if you're that concerned, just don't take the kid to see the movie. Just go see it yourself. Just go.
Simple as that. It's just like this is still a problem today, and I think it's gotten even worse nowadays. But like, these parents, like, they just don't give a crap about what their kids are seeing.
Well, yeah, that or they, expect the movies to parent their kids. Like we recently had the MCU's first F-bomb. The amount of parents that are sitting there like, you shouldn't be showing that to our children. Like, why are you bringing your children?
This is a PG-13 film.
Yeah. Why you got your 6-year-old here? What's up with that?
See, this is how you know that that Disney has and Marvel has babified the audience.
Like, I mean, it's spread to like
audience. Yeah,
and like you said, it's gotten worse with modern day film industry because it's spread to like every genre. Like that's part of why I feel like you don't have too many horror films that really push the envelope anymore. Because they know that these parents are taking their kids to go see these films. They're like, well, we can't traumatize them too bad. So
it's a horror movie.
Exactly.
I'm like,
Freddy Krueger appears in your dreams and kills you in real life. All right, that's horror. All right,
yeah, that's horror. There's blood, gruesome deaths. Like, come on now. I just saw the teaser for the Nun 2, and it's like if you guys have followed my channel, I'm not a fan of the Conjuring universe in general. The Nun, I hated the first Nun. It's just you could just tell with those movies that they don't really break boundaries there. They half the time they don't even feel like R-rated movies. I forget that they're R-rated movies.
No, I get that because like I'm even concerned about something that's coming out this year that I'm gonna go see personally, just because I like the lore surrounding it. But the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, there's the potential there for something truly horrifying there. But I know they're gonna dumb it down. I know they're gonna dumb it down for all the kids in the audience and everything. It's gonna probably be like PG-13. It's gonna be very cheesy. It's gonna,
they have faith in that when they put day and date release on Peacock.
Oh, don't remind me.
That is a mistake.
Oh no,
that's a mistake. Come on now.
Yeah, they're gonna be sitting there like, why are the box office numbers so low? Because you put it on Peacock.
Put it on Peacock, man. Now I understand with the Halloween films because they're garbage. Nobody's gonna go see that in the theater. But like Five Nights at Freddy's, like I don't think that has the big budget either. Like that could easily make its money back in a weekend.
It could. You're talking about probably the biggest horror franchise in gaming in a long time. But.
And then Aaron said it right here. How many kids will see Deadpool 3 because it's Marvel? Man, that was a problem with the first 2 Deadpool movies. They brought their kids to see it, and parents, parents complained. I'm like, it's a rated R movie.
Yeah, they're like, why is this hero swearing? He shouldn't swear. It's like you've never read the comics, obviously. That is Deadpool.
Watch a freaking trailer. You don't even have to read a comic. Watch a trailer.
There was literally a video game that came out like 3 years before that movie that showed you, hey, this is Deadpool.
Like, do your research just a little bit before you take your kids to see anything.
Right. All it is a quick Google search. Should I take my kid to see Deadpool? The answer, no. Don't do that.
Gosh. before we get a tangent about the movie industry, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
as I said, like, okay, I get if they don't want to make this movie as violent as the first film, which I
Mhm.
still don't understand. The first movie's not that violent. I'm gonna keep saying that the first movie is not that violent, but like, you still have the turtles in this movie fighting people, so
Yeah.
it's like you could have the Shredder fight the turtles. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, and like the Shredder didn't even hurt anybody with his hand thing in the first film. He
Yeah.
threatened people with it, but he never sliced people up with it. So I'm like,
Right. Right.
just
Right. Like
give us
if you
something.
yeah, if you guys were fine with Home Alone, which came out the previous year, you should be fine with whatever violence was in the first Ninja Turtles movie. But
I just don't understand. This is just the studio and parents not understanding what property it is. Now, I will give it a slight benefit of the doubt because from the beginning, this is something that marketed more towards kids. So it's like you don't want to send mixed signals, as I said, you
I
know?
mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like it started being marketed towards kids the second they decided to adapt it into an '80s cartoon instead of like, because if it was just straight up the comic and then these movies happened, oh, they'd be a lot darker. They would be a lot darker. But because you had those '80s cartoons beforehand, now there's an expectation of how the movie's gonna be.
Curse you, 80s cartoon!
Yeah,
Curse you!
exactly. I'll admit I'm not a big fan of the '80s cartoon either. They lost me at Walking Pizza. they they lost
I
me then.
remember that too, and I was like,
Hmm.
what is going on right now? I put up the hot take for people because I know there's a lot of people that grew up with the 80s cartoon, but yeah, sorry, nah.
Sorry,
Because
2003 was better.
2003 is like God tier.
Yeah,
God tier.
best thing to happen for the franchise. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Not sorry, actually. I'm not sorry at all.
Sorry, not sorry. But okay, so I want to get to Toka and Rezar, but I think we need to set some context up before we get to that. So let us first start with Baxter Stockman. I'm sorry, I mean Dr. Perry. Like, come on now. You look at this guy, and please try to tell me that that doesn't look like Baxter Stockman.
That was
man.
supposed to be Baxter Stockman. That was 100% supposed to be Baxter Stockman.
Man, I'm like, why did they change that? Well, I think as I
They-
said earlier, because like there's apparently some rights issues with the cartoon and the comic
Yeah.
that they didn't want to
They-
pay the people to use the names of the characters or the actual characters themselves.
They also probably didn't want to have the creature shop make a giant fly, but
Oh, you didn't have to do the fly in this movie. Like,
yeah, I know, but
I don't even know how they could do that. Like,
I could see how they could do that. It would look so out of place, but I could see how they could do that.
yeah, it's gonna look like Jeff Goldblum's The Fly.
it probably would have ended up looking like the ant from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, that would have been weird. That would have been
Mhm.
weird. But I personally liked the body horror from Ninja Turtles. I liked it from the comics. I liked it from the 2003 cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
They went into it slightly in the Michael Bay films, but I like
mean,
when they go into it.
Yeah, it's mainly the shows that go into it because, like, 2012, like, they straight up have Shredder coming out from a grave, a decayed corpse. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool, but man,
Mhm. There was even some unreleased episodes from the 2003 movie with Baxter
Yes.
Stockman where they start to get more into the body horror with that as well, and they were looking at that
That's
and be like, we can't market that to kids.
oh
That's
yeah,
too.
I mean that's the thing. Those aired like once or twice, and then like 4 kids being 4 kids was like, no,
God,
you can't do that.
I hate 4 kids so much. I hate it.
They've ruined a lot.
They ruined a lot of cartoons. Ruined a lot of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as far as Dr. Perry, he was cool.
I liked him. I liked him. I think I especially liked him when he in his moments with Donatello because I felt like those two characters just kind of bounced off each other very well. Lots of nice chemistry with them.
Yeah,
No pun
absolutely.
intended.
Yeah, I know I've seen this actor from something else.
He looks familiar, yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, he was in Titanic. He was the assistant of the villain's character, the antagonist character. I forget his. I know that actor too. Like it's off the top of my head. But yeah, he was the butler slash assistant in Titanic. Um, that's the
David
only,
Warner.
yeah, David Warner. Yeah. I think that's the only thing I saw him in was Titanic. Other than this, um, but yeah, they got a pretty solid actor for this film, which I didn't expect. Who was the antagonist of Titanic? Um, and that a lot of people wanted him as Lex Luthor as well. Didn't end up happening.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is gonna bother us. We gotta look this up. This is gonna bother
Yeah, I'm
us.
like looking up his IMDb and everything right now just to see what kind of information I can get.
We interrupt this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Billy Zane. Okay, yeah, he was the butler slash assistant of Billy Zane. But yeah, so yeah, David Warner. Yeah, it was pretty good in this. Another I don't know if this was. I think this is a rumor, or I don't know if this was actually something they were trying to set up, which we'll guess we'll get more into when we talk about the third movie. So, if he wasn't going to be Baxter Stockman, another thing that they wanted to do for this character was that they wanted to be like a surprise at the end that he ends up being an Utrom or like Krang, or I mean in this. So like they were gonna like I guess they wanted to show like that he was the whole time that he was supposed to be an Utrom, but that I guess there was a concept that never really made it to the screen at all. So or made it even the concepts I think, or when they were writing
they probably figured that it's way too complex of an effect to pull off.
That would be like some Total Recall level practical effects right there. Like I'm remembering in the original Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was disguised as that lady and the head like split apart. That was like an interesting effect back there.
Yeah, it probably would have ended up being something like Alien, which probably would have been a little too disturbing.
Yeah, so once again, you're trying to market this towards kids. You can't have aliens popping out of guys' stomachs. You can't have people turning into flies. Like, I'm sorry, it's too disturbing. Can't do it. But either way, so another thing. Oh, thank you, Aaron. I should have looked at the comments. Yeah, Billy Zane. Thank you. We took all that time looking it up. But anyway, so another thing that they changed from the cartoon, the comics. So the whole thing of it being called Secret of the Ooze, there wasn't really a secret of the Ooze. There wasn't really anything you really found out.
They revealed it in the first act.
Yeah, literally. I'm just like, okay, that's it.
Yeah,
it was from this lab called.
Yeah, Splinter was.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was say, yeah. I mean, yeah. Splinter does find it out, like that it's a canister that was scientifically made from a laboratory called TGRI.
Yeah.
But in the comics, it's called TCRI in the original source material. Again, they didn't want to pay those rights to use TCRI.
Yeah. Like it's just great value TCRI. I don't know. I love how it's called Secret of the Ooze, and then the first act, Splinter comes down from the roof of the building. He's like, "Hey, I gotta tell you a secret about your origin. I had this canister on me all the time. Actually, I always carry this with me. Look, this is where you came from. All right. Anyways, that's it. Roll credits.
So my question is, why are you showing it to the Turtles now?
My question is, why have you had that on you the entire time? How did you have that on you the entire time? That is broken glass.
I mean, he probably just picked it up when they were slowly mutating You know, like when he started to become sentient, he was like, "Oh, well, look, the canister. This may be
I
important for later. Maybe I'll
I
keep it." So
guess, but that man's had that on him for like 16 years. That man's weird.
yeah, I'm just like, yeah, as I said, like, why is he now just telling the turtles
Mhm.
about the canister? Like, this is something you should have told them when they were growing up. Like,
Yeah, that's like in movies when it's like in movies with the cliche of like a parent sitting a kid down being like, "You're adopted," and they're like 25. Like
what?
that's yeah, yeah,
Traumatizing, but okay.
yeah.
Um, but okay, so what is the big secret of the ooze? It comes from TGRI. Okay.
Yeah, you can like put it in donuts and mutate things, I guess. Or, if because how did the Shredder even get mutated at the end? I don't even remember. Like
Oh,
I
we'll get
just
to that.
yeah, I
Oh, we'll
just
get.
watched it recently and I forget how that even happened.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just-
Oh God. So what is the significance of TGRI making this ooze? What does it do?
like I mean, I know in other source material, maybe not necessarily the source material, but in other material, TCRI is like an evil company that is working to essentially take over the world or the tri-state area at least or something like that. I don't know, and like usually Baxter Stockman's a part of it or something. So it's like Alchemax for Spider-Man. Like it's you know,
Okay, that's
but
more of an
not here.
explanation than what we got in this movie. It's just a
Yeah,
laboratory. He's a scientist. They're making this ooze
yeah,
for
yeah. It's
something.
Yeah, it's a laboratory that just appears for like one scene, and they keep all the secret files behind the password Apple or something like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I,
I do remember that Donatello was like trying to hack the system, and they type up the most simplest word into the computer, and they're able to get the files up. I'm
well,
like,
yeah, he's just mushing his like big sausage fingers across the entire keyboard, like pressing like 5 keys at a time. He's like, "We're in." It's like what? What?
I'm like, yeah. First of all, your big turtle digits shouldn't
Yeah.
be pressing more than one key at one time. But like, okay, sure, we'll suspend our disbelief for that. But like, with Donatello being the genius, I would think he would have a little bit more of an elaborate way of getting into the system instead of just
Mm-hmm.
typing in whatever password or whatever to get in. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like,
I
okay.
also love how there are a bunch of pre-made like canisters of the ooze already there when they show up, but Tatsu waits specifically for the one that's produced after the turtles press enter, and he's like, "Now we make our move." And
Yeah, exactly. Like, why do you need that specific
right,
one?
right.
Like,
There's like 50 of them right there. And
yeah,
why did you only take one?
because he made it special. That's why.
Yeah, it was made with love, I guess. I don't know, like what?
Oh, that was another plot hole because like I do remember because Perry was like draining the ooze into this like tube or whatever, and so
Hmm.
that canister that he had, they said that was the last one, until he
Yeah, that's
drained.
the last one, sir. Have you not been back to the laboratory?
Like, right, like, is there
There-
like, I mean, again, we don't know the intricacies of the laboratory, but like, can't you just ask, or just force Perry to just, draw up a random canister and like, okay, whatever.
right, right. He's sitting there like this is special, sir. They are actively producing more. You could just walk in there and grab one. They won't miss it. They clearly didn't miss the one that went missing when Tatsu took it.
Okay, whatever. So okay, so yeah, like we said, we don't know what the importance of the ooze is. Why are they making this
Hmm.
mutagen that can like contaminate anything and turn them into monsters? Or I
Hmm.
just what?
I mean, also the other thing, which was also an issue in the previous film, it's not too clear what the Foot Clan's motives are. Like, I mean, I get that they want revenge on the turtles. Sure, okay, I get that. They threw you in a trash compactor. You probably want to do something really bad to them. I get that, but what after that? Because you take Toka and Razor out and like terrorize the city, to which the New Yorkers pay no mind for some reason to a
Oh
giant.
yeah, there's no
Yeah,
police, not at
yeah,
all.
yeah. Well, like even the two people that are there, they're like, oh, these hooligans. It's like that is a dog and a turtle, and you're
Ran
not
you
freaking
through
out.
town, and you don't call for backup.
Yeah,
Like,
well, like you're not gonna call the police. You're gonna be like, oh well, darling, that's just another Saturday night. Look at there's a man that's dressed in a bunch of blades and another ninja-looking dude, and these two mutants. We're not gonna pay any mind to that though. That's whatever. But like, what's your plan after you destroy Vanilla Ice's secret nightclub? Like, what's your plan?
Rebuild the foot, and then what?
But it's like rebuild the foot. The foot was never deconstructed. It's still there. You still got kids that are sitting there in some junkyard, I think.
I don't know. Maybe it's like some sort of like Godfather type of thing, or it's like they try to like recruit as many people as possible to the point where they take over the city, and Shredder would like be like a mob gangster or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, the man's determined and resourceful. At least, I mean, the guy spent like a few days in a junkyard and constructed like a spike trap for the turtles, a little crane game thing.
If you want to call it a little trap, like literally, I looked at that spike trap and it's like the turtles can easily get out of this situation. Like, come on now. But all right. Oh, actually, we haven't. Thank you for bringing up. I forgot to mention to talk about this huge plot hole with the Shredder. So we remember in the first film that he got crushed by a trash compactor.
Man should be dead.
Yes, his inside should have exploded. There should be nothing left of him. His bones should be broken. His body should have like just been mulch. But no, in the beginning of this movie, he like just breaks out of the rubble of the junkyard in one piece.
Yeah, he's just built different, I guess. He like a lesser man would die in that situation, I guess. But man is literally too angry to die.
That made no sense.
No. Yeah, it's like you couldn't. I mean, I get it, but like you couldn't pull from anywhere else in the Turtles Rogues gallery. Like,
I bet they wanted to use Baxter Stockman or Krang or Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, Bebop, Rocksteady. You could have even brought in Usagi or something like that, but
yeah, I'm sure they wanted to use any one of those villains, but once again, they probably didn't want to pay for the rights to use them.
Unfortunately, it's a problem we even run into today. I mean, even looking at like Transformers, do you know how long it took for them to get the name Hot Rod back?
Oh, was that actually a struggle?
Yeah, every time that there's a character named Hot Shot, that was supposed to be Hot Rod.
Wow.
And every time that they made a Hot Rod figure, they had to call him Hot Rodimus or Rodimus Prime, or in Transformers Animated's case, Rodimus Minor. So, yeah.
Wait, so they can still call him Rodimus Prime.
Yes.
They can use Hot Rodimus.
Yes.
They just add some words to Rod and it's fine.
Yes.
But they can't say Hot Rod.
Yes. It's also why for a long time they called Jazz Autobot Jazz instead of just Jazz.
I was wondering about that too. Like, why are they calling it Autobot Jazz? Autobot.
Yeah, I'm like, is there a Decepticon Jazz? Like, what's?
Like, okay, that's because they don't own the rights to say Jazz.
Yeah, so it's something that you run into now. It's like even the same thing with like MCU. There are certain characters where Disney's still not like, oh, we're not going to pay to use these characters yet.
Yeah,
so,
that one seems to be like the most clear out of all the other properties as far as like what they what they can and cannot use.
That's what you get for selling off individual characters to certain companies. Now there's just a feud for who gets what. I
pray to the heavens that Warner Brothers never sells any of the DC properties. Please don't do that.
I really hope that there's not a day where it's like, oh, well, Universal owns Jason Todd now, so they can use that guy, but we can't. So,
I've already started getting nervous when they started selling a couple of the properties to Netflix, like Sandman and stuff like that. I'm like, oh man, I started getting nervous. I'm like, oh no, oh no. But yeah, James Gunn, please save the DC universe. Please save it.
But that is to say that, yeah, it's something that affected this film then, and it's something that's still felt now with many different franchises.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it just it just made no sense for them to bring Shredder back like this. But I guess they were desperate because like that's the only character that they can afford to use again.
They probably also, because of this being made in less than a year, they're probably like, wait, who do we need to use this villain? Bring Shredder back.
Like, no, it's like Fantastic Four. It's like the only villain that they think that they have is Doctor Doom.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
no,
like, what? Huh?
Like, come on now.
It's Doctor Doom, and then they fight Galactus. That is a huge jump. That's
not how that's not how that's supposed to go. No. But yeah, I'm just like, it's whatever. It's whatever, I guess. And then it's like in the third movie, they don't use any of the
oh my
original
god, no, they were high on all kinds of chemicals and drugs and crack rock and yeah.
Okay, but yeah, that's a whole other ordeal. We'll get to that when we get there. But
It's a fever dream.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Oh, it sure was. God. All right, so Token Razar.
Both voiced by Frank Welker, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Man. Okay, as a kid, I liked Token Razar a lot. I thought they were cool. They were big mutant wolf and snapping turtle. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Now watching it as an adult, I'm like, these two suck. I don't like Token Razar. No.
They absolutely do. It's like, I think outside of Tatsu and Kino are like the only original characters in this film, because Toka and Razar do not appear anywhere before this, but they do appear after this in other series and everything. But
now I was like, why are you bringing them back? Why? Why? Like,
granted, future shows did a better job handling these characters, but man,
fair enough. Yes, you're right. They did handle it better than this. But like, looking at Toka and Razar, we were all thinking in the back of our minds, that's supposed to be Bebop and Rocksteady.
Absolutely, but they're babies.
It is so clear that they wanted to use Bebop and Rocksteady, but once again, they didn't want to pay to use the characters.
Right.
Like,
okay, cool, fine. You don't want to call them Bebop and Rocksteady? Make them intelligent, adult-like creatures, but just call them like Rock and Roll or something, all right? You can fight Capcom on the naming rights later, all right? Nobody was playing Mega Man at the time anyways. It's fine.
Yeah, just call them Beep and Rock.
Yeah.
There you go.
You could call them like hip hop and R&B or something. I don't know.
Tweedledee, Tweedledum. I don't like anything, but like for them to fully just make completely different animals. I'm like, okay. I'll say this, even though I'm not a big fan of the cartoon, I actually do like Bebop and Rocksteady. I thought they were cool.
Yeah, they're the perfect like little jobber guys. They're perfect for like, you know, just these dopey little assistants to the main bad guy.
And it's like, I would think it would have been so cool if they figured out like a big practical suit / animatronics for a rhino and a warthog. Like that would have been so cool.
They totally could. If that creature shop was put in charge of practical effects for a Ninja Turtles film or show now, they totally could do that. They could have done that then. It's just, yeah, they probably didn't want to pay the rights for those characters.
It's such a shame. Okay, you don't want to use Krang.
Right.
Fine.
I mean,
but
right.
like, I don't know. I don't know, man.
This film had a budget of $25 million. You're telling me that with that $25 million, you couldn't turn around and maybe buy a few rights to some characters?
Just a
Yeah.
couple. You know, like I mean,
No, we gotta have Vanilla Ice though.
we will get to that in a minute. But one problem at a time. Okay, so Toka and Rezar, they're freaking babies. They act like babies. God, like when they first they turn big and they imprint on Shredder and they're like, oh mama. I'm like, I hate it. I hate it so much.
I was hoping that towards the end of the film, even as a kid, I was hoping that towards the end of the film, they'd, kind of be more like brutal, like, oh, like Shredder says, or Mama says kill them or something like that. Okay, yeah.
He does say that.
Yes, but like they don't exactly take the order that seriously.
No, they don't. And they're so stupid too. It's like, and also it kind of makes Shredder look a little stupid too, because we mentioned they have to, that Perry makes this another concoction that will turn Bebop and Rocksteady back to regular Wolf and Snapping Turtle, and they say they have to eat it in order for them to turn back, and so they trick them by making the mutant into donuts. And okay, so Bebop and Rocksteady are already dumb. It makes Shredder even stupider for letting it happen.
Well,
so
it's also dumb on the doctor's part for deciding to, instead of like baking it into the donut, he makes it this little like diamond thing.
He makes it a little like canister thing, like whatever. I'm like, because I thought that's what they were doing with the ooze, whatever. Because like, oh, they're gonna make that into dough and turn it into actual donuts, so they will never know. But like, you're making it into, because he never said that it needs to be like in a tablet form. He never said that.
Yeah.
He just said they have to eat it. So he literally just could have made it into donuts, but no, he turns it into a little thing, and then the one time where the wolf wants to be smart, he crushes the donut and like, oh look, it's the tablet in there. I'm like, but for Shredder even to even watch all this happening, he didn't think, oh, that's kind of strange that the turtles are giving them donuts right now. Why are they doing that? He should have been like, don't take the donuts, attack them.
Yeah, I mean, he's also dumb for relying on them, because like he even says early on, like, we should just kill them. We should just get rid of them. And like the real Shredder, despite what the doctor says or demonstrates, would have been like, no, kill him and just use the mutagen on like one of the foot soldiers or something like that. Someone that actually knows what they're doing.
Honestly, you could have just ambushed the turtles, because that seems to work every time. Like the foot can just ambush the turtles and then they're in trouble.
Just take their dad again.
But yeah, like if it wasn't for Splinter, they probably would have been dead, because he shot the bow and arrow to get them out of the net or whatever. Oh, that's another stupid thing too. When they were sneaking into the junkyard to rescue Raphael from the foot. Okay, so I know this is for humor, somewhat is for comedic effect, but like when they're literally just walking and like they get captured by the net. So the turtles didn't notice that there is a net on the ground when they were walking.
They also didn't, I mean, they were suspicious of it, but they weren't like even more cautious when they realized, Raphael is probably like their most important prisoner. There is not a single person here.
Okay. There's a couple of guards that are like all the way over there.
Yeah. That we have to go out of our way to subdue.
And like literally knock them out within 2 punches. And they even say, oh, it's a little too easy. Oh, they don't, keep going. All right. Okay. But yeah, like he's out there in the open and nobody's guarding him. Like it's so freaking quiet.
And like they're not like thrown off by Raphael going like,
I'm like, okay, all right, okay. It's funny because the kids will laugh at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's meant to be targeted towards kids, so I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it.
Whatever.
I get it. And it's part of why I enjoy it. It's part of why it's a fun watch, but I can also acknowledge that it is a flaw.
Yeah, like fair enough. I can see that, that kids can enjoy this fine. Like, it's some funny stuff with the turtles and the Toka and Rezar. So I get it. It's all kitty stuff. That's fine. Um, okay, and then as far as the fights with the turtles and Toka and Rezar, they were lame too. Like, okay, so Lily Dawn, you're gonna legit try to hit them with a bow staff, and you think that's gonna do anything with it?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Well,
If there was any moment for you to actually use your weapons, Raph and Leo, that would be the time to do
yeah,
so.
you don't even have to like cut people open. Just cut like the spikes off a razor or something like that,
Yeah, that's
or Toka. I
non-violent.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also dumb how instead of taking the opportunity to immediately run away, this was a gag that definitely overstayed its welcome. You
Mhm.
decide to sit there and tickle his feet.
When he got stuck in the
Yes,
manhole. Yeah.
yes. And all the foot ninjas, instead of sitting there like, oh, we need to pull this giant turtle out of there so that we can go after the turtles, they're like, what if we like try to keep pushing him down? Yeah, this hole that he doesn't fit in with his solid shell and all these spikes. We're gonna try to like smash him down there. Yeah, or
Or
we're gonna leave him there.
or what's even stupider is that uh Shredder, Tatsu, or any of the Foot Clan realized, oh, this manhole is small. Oh,
Mhm.
Toka and Rezhar are really big. They probably won't fit in this small manhole. We should stop them from going first.
Also, this is how I know that Shredder suffered some brain damage from that like trash compactor, because the real Shredder would have seen that failure and been like, "Yeah, no, you two are dead. You two are dead. You're dead now."
Yep, you are a failure. You are a failed experiment. Kill them. Like,
But instead, he's like, "We'll give him another chance. We're gonna do this cool thing in this big arena, and they're gonna fight after they give him donuts."
this is the same Shredder that kicked all four of their asses at one time, right?
Nah, that man suffered brain damage. That trash compactor messed with him. That's my headcanon. That's
I mean, that's the only thing that could make somewhat sense in this movie. Because, like, yeah, honestly, Shredder doesn't need these monsters.
Yeah, he could just go back there and be like, "Well, these are untrained teenagers. I could just kill them."
Right.
It would be over and done with. Then I can get back to managing my criminal empire. But instead, this man had like the same effect on that trash compactor had the same effect on Shredder as the like plasma baths had on Galvatron after Transformers the movie. Just nuts.
And then here's another thing. Why? What does Shredder want with the ooze?
To the secret to taking over New York or something. I don't know, man.
How does he even know about the ooze?
Gonna like drug people or I don't know. Like,
There's more stuff. I'm like starting to think. I'm like,
so the plot can move along. He has to know that this ooze exists. He got out of that trash pile and he was like, "There's ooze. I saw it in a vision. Don't ask me how. I saw it in a vision. There's a building called TGRI, not TCRI. Don't confuse it. Don't confuse him with that. TGRI. You need to go there and wait for the turtles to make a batch of this ooze that's already commonly made. And then you're gonna steal that. You're gonna steal that specific canister because it doesn't have a serial number on it. So you can steal that. You're gonna
because it's not like Shredder when he was Oroku Saki knew about the pet rat going into a sewer and getting contaminated by ooze.
Like what was he lying in that trash pile and thinking like, how did that rat get so tall and beat me on that rooftop? How did those turtles? What happened? How the It must have been Ooze.
I must get a canister. Time to do some research. Like, okay, all right. So the final the final fight in the dance hall with Vanilla Ice.
Ninja, rap, ninja. That scene was how I knew Tatsu was just a joke.
Oh, like when all four turtles like shell butted him, and he's
then took a dance break. Yes.
Okay.
Where no one in the crowd thought those are some oddly realistic looking turtles.
Nobody. Why is nobody running for their lives, screaming?
Yeah, they're like, these people ran in here with like swords and giant mutants, and they're like actually hurting people. We're gonna keep jamming out because Vanilla Ice is on stage and he's not being deterred by it. Which, hey, it's pretty much like modern day now. With whose concert was it where people were getting like trampled and he still didn't stop the show?
Oh shoot, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it is realistic.
Man, it's just guys in costumes, man.
That is a common reasoning for a lot of these like incarnations of the turtles. At what point do they like sit there and go, you know, these costumes are like a little too real?
I mean, they should probably get a red flag when they start seeing the mouths move and the tongue is moving and all that stuff. Like,
right. Also, that's gotta that should have been a moment for Shredder to be like, no, we got to go back to the drawing board. We got to go back and train. They literally beat my right hand man into submission and then started dancing on stage with Vanilla Ice. They do not see us as a threat, and that's a problem.
Yeah, that. What? Okay. So, as a kid, like I didn't really care too much for Vanilla Ice. I mean, so that the whole him performing on stage and all of that, I'm just like, I mean, I guess as a kid, I was going along with it because it's dancing and rapping and
yeah. I mean, that's how you know it's targeted towards kids. Because as a kid, I was going along with it. Like I liked Vanilla Ice as a kid. I still kind of like him now, but like, you know, like you're watching that as a kid. And it's like, oh yeah, this is fun. And like as an adult, I'm watching and like, okay, this is still fun. It's stupid though. It's very stupid.
It's like the tagline of this movie is dumb fun.
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
A lot
it
of
is.
Stuff, yeah,
you turn this movie on and you turn your brain off.
Pretty much. You know, I gotta turn my brain off. You know, but like, you know, just enjoy the bright colors and the kooky banter with the turtles and Toka and Rezar and just pizza. Look at that pizza. Look at that delicious pizza. But yeah, that entire scene is so stupid. So freaking stupid. The only thing that was somewhat clever in that scene was when they had when Toka and Rizar started burping up the formula that Perry made, and so it's like in order for them to like, you know, speed up the reaction again, they had to get some sort of like carbon dioxide or whatever, and so they saw that there were fire hydrants, and so they had to fire that through it up there, you know, down their throats, whatever.
Which in any others, which, you know, realistically would have just killed them, but you know, it's fine because it's a kids show.
It's a kids movie.
Don't put fire hydrant hoses down people's mouths; they will die. Don't do that.
Yeah, is that something you tell your kids? Do you have your kids trying to fire extinguishers down people's throats?
That is made for smothering flames, and flames thrive on oxygen. You will die. Don't
This is why you actually have to parent your kids, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, because if that would have released modern day, guarantee you, because we live in a post Tide Pod Challenge world, kids would have been all over like TikTok doing that. Guarantee you.
Man, yeah, this movie was made today, bro. Like, God, you see it on the news. Like, thousands of kids are playing with fire extinguishers. Man, God, I worry for the future of society. But yeah, I mean the song itself, it's fine.
It's
I
catchy.
guess. It's catchy, you know. I mean, I don't hate Vanilla Ice either. You know, I think a lot of people like, they bash on Vanilla Ice a little too much. I think he gets a little too much hate. You know, he's not really a hip hop artist you really take super seriously. You know, but like he can rhyme. I'll say that.
Yeah,
he can rap.
Yeah, but Turtle Power from the previous movie was better.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that hands down. Hands down.
It got things wrong with Raphael being the leader, but
yeah, that was not right. But other than that, like, man, TURTLE power. Man,
yeah, that's an anthem. that is an anthem,
man. But yeah, so that I think as far as when people talk about Secret of the Ooze, that seems to be something that people talk about the most is the ninja rap and Vanilla Ice. That's the people's big takeaway from Secret of the Ooze. Not the Turtles, not Shredder, not even Token Rezar. Vanilla Ice and ninja rap.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. I get it.
The first thing that's one of the first things that people say is ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go. I'm like, okay.
I get it. I get it. I mean, as someone who this film is their favorite out of this trilogy, my takeaways are like, Super Shredder and John Perez's score. But I get it. I get ninja rap being the huge takeaway there. I get it.
And once again, if you guys generally like it, if you like Vanilla Ice, you like ninja rap, you like Toka and Rezar, you like all this stuff, that's great. Like, look, I got some weird takes. I got my weird guilty pleasures out there. Godzilla vs. Kong is my favorite of the MonsterVerse, and I know that has the most problems out of all the other movies, but that's still my favorite. So, like,
I get it. I get it.
So yeah, like, I'm not taking that away from anybody. This is as I said, this movie has a lot of nostalgia towards it, so, and that was one of the big reasons for it. Absolutely. It's a lot of fun, but once again, gotta turn my brain off. Okay, so the last thing we gotta talk about is super like Super Shredder.
First off, how? Second, why? And thirdly, for what reason does his armor also mutate? The man should just be a big hulking naked dude with like maybe the helmet still on his face.
Yeah, but it gotta be damaged. But yeah, okay, so let's run through the sequence of events that happen. So after they defeat Toka and Rezar and they do their dance, whatever, the Shredder breaks in, and then he's holding the mutagen in his hand, and that's when the turtles that's when the turtles proceed to get an electric guitar and connect it to the amplifier, turn it all the way up to max. Yeah. They play the guitar, and then the amplifier blows up in Shredder's face and has him flying across the room, crashing outside into the pier.
Did that man dirty while he was monologuing. That's crazy.
Wow. Okay. And so they go out to see if he's dead. And then, apparently, between him getting launched out of the building and crashing into the pier, in between those times, he apparently drank all of the ooze from that canister and turned into Super Shredder.
That man did that.
He not only turned to Super Shredder, but as you said, apparently his entire suit mutated along with him.
Yeah, that man did that in a panic. He started flying through the air. Was like, oops.
It's like, oh, backup plan. Let me crash this real quick. Drink it
Yep,
before
yep.
I crash into the pier.
Man pulled a Dio Brando. It was like, do you recognize the street that we're on, Joe Star?
Man, this is some like Looney Tunes, like anime logic, like okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Fun
Immediately
fact.
started putting the hurt on him like he did in the first film, but
Yeah, I'm like, fun fact. The guy that was who was in costume for Super Shredder is WWE legend Kevin Nash. I didn't know
oh
that.
really?
Yeah, that was Kevin Nash.
I did not know that. I wonder if he wants people to remember that.
Well, whether he does or not, people definitely remember it now. Um, he's from Detroit also as well, so nice to see some homegrown Detroit talent up there. But yeah, so I'll admit, even though it makes no sense at all, this Super Shredder looks freaking cool. That's awesome right there. I love that design of Super Shredder. I thought it was cool.
It is a cool design. I'll admit that personally, my favorite design for Super Shredder comes from the 2012 series, but which he's basically just a like rotting corpse that like got buffed up by like mutagen, which cool, but
That was really cool too. That was really cool.
yeah, but like this does have like its place as like a good design. The way it comes about doesn't make any sense at all, but it's still a cool design.
Mm-hmm. And what's even more disappointing, you have him turn into Super Shredder, only for him to do nothing.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't like something where he like maybe Toka and Razor failed, and he was like, we're not going to use them, and then use the mutagen. And then the whole last act is figuring out how to like beat Super Shredder. It's just for like 5 minutes, he becomes Super Shredder. And then he kills himself essentially. Like that's
Yeah, like they're under the pier, and he's just crashing all the support beams of the pier. And it's like even the turtles are saying, if you keep crashing this, you're gonna kill us all.
Yeah, they're like, stop
doing it. Like, man, he's like, no, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. It's like, because you want me to not do it, I'm gonna keep doing it.
And yeah, he collapses the entire pier on himself. And that's when he dies.
I'm telling
you.
Wait. Got brain damage.
Massive brain damage from that. Okay, so hold on a second. Pause. Wait a minute. So you're telling me that he didn't die from getting crushed by the trash compactor, but he dies from getting the pier collapsed on himself.
Yes.
Well, he's Super Shredder as well, so he's more likely to survive getting a pier collapsed on himself. But no, this is what kills him.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't see what's so hard to get here. Yes. Like, that's.
All right.
I think right when they got to that scene, they hit the $25 million point, and they were like, "Okay,
we got to wrap this up now because we can't afford a full-on fight between the Turtles and Super Shredder. So we just got to wrap it up like in a minute."
Do we still have those fireworks from Kroger? Cool. We're gonna put those here.
That was one of the biggest blue balls I've ever seen in the film, man. It's like you set up something so awesome and you don't do anything with it.
I mean, obviously they were determined to keep going with these films. Could have made for one heck of a cliffhanger.
Oh my god, yeah, it's like they didn't even have to kill him off in this movie. Yeah. He could have been set up for the third film.
Yeah, it could have been he turns into Super Shredder like maybe off screen, and the turtles think he's dead, but he escaped. Maybe you see like a post-credit scenes weren't very popular back then. But maybe you could have seen like an end of the movie scene where like he washes up on like, some beach in New York, because New York has beaches, and he's just like this, he's super shredder at that point. Nice setup for the third film.
Very nice setup.
Yeah, definitely like seals your spot as showing, hey, we're gonna have a third film, get ready for that. And obviously you have your audience, because obviously they made enough money to where it's like, yeah, we can make a third film. So
yeah, so and apparently they're public figures now, because you saw Splinter putting up a newspaper of them on the front page. So like, oh, they know that turtles exist now.
that's just the 80s cartoon influence coming over, I'm sure, because the 80s cartoon, they could just walk down the street, grab a slice of pizza, then walk back home. There's no reason to even live in the sewer. Splinter could have totally just like built up his credit, got like a nice like apartment, just raised the turtles there. Totally could have done that. Shredder was never coming to attack him anyways. He regularly came down there to hang out with them when he had brain damage. So
Oh my god. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention, it's a little thing. I do like the new subway hideout that they have now.
The new layer is nice. I do like that.
Mm-hmm. It did remind me of their layer in the 2003 show a little bit.
Absolutely.
It still was a little too clean, but still, I still think their overall layer looked really, really cool. I thought it was cool. They tried to make it look a little dirty because they had a bunch of junk everywhere.
Yeah, a bunch of webs and everything, and there's a whole scene where like Leo's dusting everything, which okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's really perfectly lit for an abandoned subway station.
It's weird that electricity still finds its way to this clearly long abandoned subway station, but all right,
it's fine.
And it's weird that like nobody, that runs like the city's utilities, saw that like little blip light up and was like, we should look into that.
Yeah, right. But it's whatever. It's whatever. Okay, I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah.
So now it is time for final thoughts and grades. Overall, this movie's just too silly for me. It is. I'm sorry. I would say every once in a while, like if I'm in the mood for something a little funnier from the Turtles, maybe I'll pop this in every once in a while. But I definitely don't return to this anywhere near as much as the first movie. The first one still is my favorite. And I think that encapsulates more of what I want to see from a Ninja Turtles movie. And I thought it balanced more the stuff, the goofy stuff and the dark stuff a lot better. This is just full on the Saturday morning cartoon. And in ways, I think this is even sillier than the cartoon if I didn't think that was even possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the animatronics for the Turtles weren't as good, even though this came out a year after the first movie. You would think that the effects got better, but somehow it just keeps getting worse. I am not looking forward to looking at these Turtles for the third movie. Oh
yeah, I don't want to behold that again, but I know I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, man. The movie looks too polished and clean. I like the griminess from the first movie. I liked when my turtles are dark. I'm sorry, I like when the turtles are dark. And it's like, even with the first movie, yes, there's a couple things that probably wasn't appropriate for kids, but for them to go a complete 180 in this movie, I thought it was completely unnecessary, because the first movie is not that violent. It's not. They did need to pull back on the violence, because there was nothing, like they weren't impaling people. I don't even think there was any blood in the first movie. Was there? I don't even know.
There was like a tiny bit. No, tiny bit.
Yeah, okay, they can handle that.
It wasn't like gushing or anything either. It was just like,
no.
There's a cut on his face. Cool.
Oh, a cut. Okay. Kids get boo-boos all the time. But yeah, like, I like that Shredder was here, even though it made no sense that he was back because he got brutally killed in the first movie. Um, the April O'Neil was pretty good in this, but I'm kind of salty that they recasted Judith. Casey Jones is nowhere to be found and replaced by Kano, who is all right, but like there was no reason for them to cut out Casey completely. Um, and yeah, just I don't know, man. It just felt like this was a step down from the first movie. Do I think this film is awful? No. Like I said, this is a perfectly fine movie for kids to watch. As I said, there's nothing really offensive here. If you can get over the plot holes that it has from the first movie, like this is a completely harmless movie, that you could pop in for your kids, and this is a fun family film. That's fine. But as somebody, if you're a fan of like the original comic, if you're a fan of like the darker cartoons, if you were even a fan of the first movie, if you liked how adult oriented the first movie is, I don't think I can't really see people vibing with this. Like it has a lot of nostalgia pools for sure. And yeah, you had Vanilla Ice singing a Ninja Rock song, but like, I just my biggest issue with this movie is this: it's just I didn't feel like that emotion that I got from the first movie. If you didn't want to be as dark, that's fine. But as far as like those tender, connections that we got with the Turtles from the first movie, there's none of it here. It's all just jokes, fun, ha. Like there wasn't. I don't remember there ever being a moment of them just slowing down and just having a serious conversation. I think there was like probably one, maybe two times when Donatello was like questioning who they were. That was probably the only like sentimental moment in the entire movie. But other than that, no, nothing that even came close to the emotion of the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big letdown for me. But overall, this movie's fine. It's fine. So I will give it like I think I will. This is gonna hurt some people. I'm gonna give it a C plus. I was struggling to give it a B minus, but like I don't know. There was just too much in this movie where it's like it stepped it down a little bit for me. Like I don't know. It is above average movie, but like I don't know. I'm struggling to say if this movie is good because of how many issues this movie does have. But that's
yeah.
Go ahead, Big B.
I'm probably gonna surprise you a bit. So ditto pretty much what you said. I especially the whole like emotional moments thing. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream that I like that certain things from the first movie carried over in terms of like inter-character interactions and everything. And I do like that. And a lot of the mindless humor and everything is part of, like I've said, is part of why I enjoy this one so much, is why it's my favorite film in the trilogy, because I can just, any day, I can just show up and just watch it and just turn off my brain, just have a fun time, cap off a good day, turn around a bad day, whatever. And the first film, I got to be kind of more in the mood to watch it. The third film, I never watch. But, I like... The score is great. I think the actors did a fantastic job, even those that were recast and even those that only appear for one movie, Kino. But I like a lot of the downsides and flaws of this film, weirdly enough, even though I can acknowledge them still as flaws and acknowledge that like this is a very 90s movie move, but I like it for some strange reason. Of course, it's not the best film ever. It's not even my favorite Ninja Turtles film. That comes much later, but it's it's a film I can enjoy. It's a film that I can come back to all the time, and it's a film that holds a special place in my heart, nostalgia-wise and sentimental-wise. So that's a big reason why it is my favorite, despite all of its shortcomings that, once again, I can acknowledge it, because I think that's something that kind of gets lost a lot, especially on like social media, where it's like, I can acknowledge that there are things that I don't like, that there are a lot of flaws in this, but I can also say it's my favorite thing. But Despite that, despite how much I love this and love all of its flaws and its imperfections and everything, despite it being my favorite in this trilogy, realistically, acknowledging those flaws as flaws, I can't sit here and say that it's an A or that it's that it's even a B plus or even a B, which is why my final rating for it is actually just a solid C. I think it's an average film. I think it's just it's a nice film to just sit there and watch. You can come back to and watch it all the time, and it is my favorite in the trilogy. But I don't think that it's a great film. I don't think that it's like groundbreaking in any way. I don't think that it like is even really innovative. Or it doesn't really do anything new compared to like previous films or anything. But
wow,
it's a good film.
Wow, what a this got me perplexed.
I told you I was going to surprise you. I'm surprised that you went above a C.
Yeah, I was like, this is your favorite out of the trilogy. You even enjoy some of the imperfections, but you gave it a lower grade than me. And really? I thought I was being nice. I thought you were gonna give it at least a B minus or something.
No. Like I'm not gonna mince my words. I'm not gonna go too harsh on it. Just say how I feel about it. Which, like, yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy it for its flaws and everything. But still, flaws are flaws. It's like if I were to sit here and say that Transformers the movie in 1986 is like a perfect film. Yes, I enjoy that film. Yes, I watch it probably way too much. Yes, I know the whole script word for word, but it's not a perfect film. Mm-hmm. So.
All right. Wow. Well, that is our thoughts on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Tell us out there, what are your thoughts about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? How does it compare to the other movies and or other versions of Turtles out there, show-wise, comic-wise? Where does this rank to you? Is this your favorite of the trilogy? Where does this rank in the trilogy? Comment your thoughts down below and let us know. So, we're gonna end off this the trilogy next time when we talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Can we just say that it's a duology and skip this next one?
Oh, I wish we could. I wish we could, but they want to hear us. They want to hear our thoughts, man. If we can get through all those Transformers sequels,
you know what? That's fair. That's fair. This one's a cakewalk. You know what? You're right.
At least, yeah, this is just one little bump in the road,
Yeah.
And then I think there's some like regions where they dub this Turtles in Time. That's like technically the subtitle of the third movie, Turtles in Time. Whatever. Yes. Y'all know what we're talking about. The one that sucks. The one that they went back in time. With the
one where they gave everybody freckles for some reason. Made them samurai and got turtles riding horses and romance, and I don't like that film. I don't like that film at all. I'm just gonna say that right now. We'll talk more about it, but I don't like that film.
I mean, spoilers. That movie sucks. Don't like it. But yeah, we'll get into more detail next time. So tune in for that. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this live stream, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel on the road to 500 subscribers. So it would help a lot if you guys, engage in any way you can. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Pretty soon I can monetize this channel finally, which is
he's getting close. He's getting very close.
Getting very close. So yes, help a brother out. And hit the bell. Also, if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. As you guys have seen, if you guys are subscribed to my channel, you guys know I've been releasing a whole bunch of clips from my previous streams, so be continuing to do so. I'm trying to catch up with everything, so you'll still be seeing more clips as streams are being released as well. And I know there's a couple of movies coming up. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I will give you guys my non-spoiler review for that as well. Next week, we will finally be talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, so tune in for that as well. But that is what's coming up real soon. Go ahead and plug your stuff, Big.
As always, you can find me over down there at Red, White, and Blue Streak. I do different figure reviews. It's the main thing I do on YouTube anymore. I just covered the Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime. Next week I'm going to be looking at this atrocity. So we have fun. We have fun. So I'm currently almost at 60 subscribers, trying to get to my first 100. So feel free to come on by. I love it when people interact with the videos. Even if you're not a Transformers fan, I'm going to be doing non-Transformers stuff after I tear this thing a new one. I'm going to be talking about some SH Figure Arts figures for Naruto. So if you're a Naruto fan, drop on by. So, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yes. He's a big anime guy as well. Really cool. Was that supposed to be Mirage?
No, it's Barricade from the War for Cybertron games.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, they botched this figure. It's probably going to be my first 1 out of 5 on the channel. So, you know,
wow.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Because I did see the figure that they released for Mirage from Rise of the Beast, and it looked very similar to that. I'm like, what? I'm
not even gonna touch that thing. I know I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna save that money. I'm not even gonna touch it.
Good on you, man. But yeah, he has some really good content there. Go ahead and help him get to 100 subscribers. Really good videos, really good insight into some toys and some of the other stuff as well, like Transformers and anime as well. But yeah, that is all we have for you Ninja Turtles fans, and we will see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go!
Go!